Hello, my name is Brittany Keese, and today I'm going to be talking about learning strategies that can be used in and outside of the classroom. So this is really good for teachers to know, students to know, and for parents to know so that they can instruct their students. The thing about learning is we think that it would be intuitive. We're learning from the day that we're born, but that's not always true. Like, we don't know the learning techniques that would be most suited for us to retain the information that we want to retain. You think that it would be obvious. Well, the best way to learn is through application of skills without teacher direction. The first time we're presented something, we want to try it on our own, and then we want to have teacher direction after. So that makes us have meaningful connections between things. So, for example, in my math class that I'm teaching right now, I present them with a problem, and the problem is relevant to what they've been learning about in their unit, and it's got prior knowledge that they need to have, and then it connects that to the new lesson that we're going to be learning. So they use their prior knowledge from this lesson, from previous lessons, to build onto what they should be learning. This idea of generative learning is what really helps students to make those connections, collaborate, and it helps them link to prior knowledge. So it's surmounting those mild difficulties and making it more meaningful to them. Obviously, that's a desired difficulty. Other times we're presented with undesirable difficulties that aren't really teaching us any lessons. It's a hard problem. We're not getting anything that's going to help us achieve that. We're just presented with a hard problem. And we don't want to do that to kids. They want to be able to achieve things on their own, and then we'll come around full circle and explain it. The other thing about students and their learning habits is that sometimes we think that rereading would be a good study tactic for a test. Well, the problem with that is rereading only allows us to look at the page and remember what we read the first time. It's recall, where we're not actually applying the skill. We're just recalling from memory what we read the first time, and that's all we're going to remember the second time as well. So when we read it and we go to take the test, we're not actually knowing how to do those things. We're like, oh yeah, this is what I read. You're sensing this familiarity, but it's a false sense. You didn't actually learn it. You didn't have to apply it. And that's the problem that kids are running into. And we have to break that cycle. As parents and teachers, we need to tell them how to study. What's the best strategies? So I'm here to tell you a couple strategies. And my favorite is elaboration. We're making meaningful connections between prior knowledge, other things in life. It doesn't even have to apply to the same subject necessarily. You can make connections between multiple subjects. You can make connections between your life and subjects, and that's what's going to make it more meaningful for them. The other three things, and I think these all kind of go together in a way, it's recall, is flashcards, self-quizzing, and self-testing. And all three of those can be used at different times. Some people like flashcards more, but the trick to this is you don't want to just mass cram for this test the night before. That's only going to make you study, pass, and repeat. You're not going to be able to retain the information long term. You're just going to study for the test and you're going to lose that information. And we don't want to do that to our kids. We want them to retain the information and be able to apply it to a later date. We want them to be successful in life and lifelong learners. So here's how we're going to do that. So instead of just cramming the night before, we're going to study like 10 minutes every day. 10 minutes, just to see what they remember from one day to the next. And slowly they'll start remembering more from one day to the next. It's pretty impressive. The other thing that you can do is interleave or space your study skills. So you could do flashcards over math. And then we can move on to history or science or something else, just to change up the gears and get your mind moving in a different direction so that we can come back to it and see what you really did remember the second time around. Or you could do something else. But that's really how you can get someone to retain the information you want long term. And I hope these strategies are going to help you in class and outside the class. I hope you enjoyed this video.